Welcome. The core challenge of aviation meteorology is predicting whether a seemingly calm patch of air will remain clear or erupt into a violent thunderstorm. To master this for your DGCA, CPL, and ATPL exams, make sure to subscribe to the Pilot Arnav channel. Today, we are tackling the exact physics of atmospheric stability. Let's define stability in strict physics terms. It is simply the property of an object to return to its original position after being displaced. Consider a ball in an upright bowl. Push it, and gravity pulls it right back to the center. That is a stable state. Place that exact same ball on an inverted bowl, give it a nudge, and it accelerates away. That is unstable. On a flat surface, the ball simply stays where it stops. That is neutral stability. In aviation weather, the bowl is the surrounding atmospheric environment, and the ball is a localized, discrete parcel of air. To track this air parcel, we must distinguish between isothermal and adiabatic processes. An isothermal process maintains a constant temperature by exchanging heat with its surroundings. However, air is a remarkably poor conductor of heat. Therefore, when a parcel of air moves vertically through the atmosphere, it doesn't exchange heat with the surrounding air. The process is strictly adiabatic. You can observe an adiabatic process at work in a manual bicycle pump. Compressing the gas inside the cylinder increases its internal temperature. The heat isn't coming from the outside environment. It is generated entirely by the internal compression of the gas itself. Vertical air movement operates on this exact mechanic. Temperature changes within a rising or falling air parcel are driven strictly by internal pressure shifts, completely independent of the ambient environmental temperature. Now, reverse the pump mechanism. As our air parcel is forced upward into the atmosphere, the external atmospheric pressure exerting force on it rapidly decreases. Without that heavy external pressure holding it together, the internal air parcel physically expands outward. This physical expansion consumes energy, which directly results in adiabatic cooling. The parcel's internal temperature drops as it rises. It is critical to note that this specific cooling effect is caused purely by the parcel's internal expansion. It has absolutely nothing to do with the temperature of the air outside the parcel. The internally cooling air parcel operates on one track, while the ambient environmental air sitting around it has a completely separate pre-existing temperature profile. Understanding this isolated internal cooling effect provides the baseline required to calculate atmospheric lapse rates and ultimately predict specific weather events. We measure this exact rate of cooling with altitude using a temperature lapse rate. This chart shows our first metric, the dry adiabatic lapse rate, or DALR. This applies exclusively to air containing 0% relative humidity. As a dry parcel moves up 1 kilometer, it cools at a strict rate of approximately 10 degrees Celsius. You may also see this written as 1 degree per 100 meters. Next is the saturated adiabatic lapse rate, or SALR. This dictates the cooling rate for an air parcel sitting at 100% relative humidity. Notice the difference. A saturated parcel cools at a slower rate, roughly 5 degrees Celsius per kilometer. The math changes because as the saturated air cools, it can no longer hold all its water vapor. The excess vapor condenses into liquid. This phase change releases latent heat into the parcel, which directly counteracts the adiabatic expansion, slowing down the overall cooling process. However, the SALR is a variable rate. At lower altitudes and lower latitudes, the starting air temperature is naturally higher. Warmer air holds significantly more water vapor, which means upon condensation, it releases far more latent heat, driving the cooling rate even lower. Finally, we have the environmental lapse rate, or ELR. Unlike our rigid adiabatic constants, the ELR represents the chaotic, real-world temperature profile of the static air outside the parcel. While the international standard atmosphere assumes an ideal ELR of 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer, real-world conditions vary wildly. Occasionally, you will even encounter an atmospheric inversion, an anomaly where the ELR actually increases with height instead of decreasing. The DALR and SALR provide our aerodynamic constants, but the ELR is the unpredictable variable. Calculating the mathematical difference between the parcel's internal temperature and the ELR is how we forecast weather. This comparison dictates our absolute rules of stability. We achieve absolute stability when the ELR has the lowest numerical value. In this state, a lifted air parcel cools faster than its environment. It remains colder and heavier than the surrounding air, sinking right back down. Conversely, absolute instability occurs when the ELR is the highest value. The lifted parcel is always warmer and lighter than the air around it, so it continues to rise indefinitely. If the ELR perfectly matches the DALR or SALR, we have neutral stability. The parcel simply remains at whatever exact altitude it was pushed to. The most complex atmospheric state is conditional instability. This occurs when the ELR sits perfectly between the saturated and dry adiabatic lapse rates. Let's look at a chart mapping a 1 kilometer vertical lift to prove why this condition is so critical. We begin at the surface with both the ambient environment and a dry air parcel sitting at 30 degrees Celsius. We force both upward 1 kilometer. Following the DALR, the dry parcel drops 10 degrees to 20 degrees Celsius. The surrounding environment, cooling at a standard ELR of 6.5 degrees, reaches 23.5 degrees Celsius. Compare the numbers. The 20-degree parcel is significantly colder, and therefore denser, than the 23.5-degree environment. This dense pocket creates a localized high-pressure system. It sinks, proving that dry air in this conditional state is strictly stable. Now, let's reset the chart and run the exact same surface conditions, but this time our 30-degree air parcel is fully saturated with moisture. We push both up 1 kilometer again. Because of the latent heat release, the saturated parcel cools by the slower SALR, reaching 25 degrees Celsius. The environment remains at 23.5 degrees. The dynamic has completely flipped. The 25-degree saturated parcel is now warmer and lighter than the surrounding environment. It generates a localized low-pressure system that actively draws more air upward, becoming violently unstable. This comparison demonstrates how moisture content shifts the buoyancy of an air parcel. Water vapor acts as a critical variable, dictating whether an air mass remains trapped in stable layers or gains energy to build significant vertical extent. We can define atmospheric instability in purely mechanical terms. If an external force gives an air mass 1 unit of upward push, and that air mass reacts by rising 2 units, it is unstable. This introduces a hidden threat known as latent instability. Here, an initially stable layer of air reveals its instability only after being mechanically lifted by an outside force. Meteorologists classify this into 2 categories. In real latent instability, the energy ultimately released by the air mass exceeds the initial upward push. In pseudo-latent instability, the resulting energy output is much weaker than the force required to lift it. For pilots, the most immediate danger is convective or potential instability. This involves massive topographic features acting as mechanical triggers. Picture an otherwise stable, warm air mass hitting a mountain range. The physical barrier forcefully ramps the air upward. The forced lift pushes the air parcel to its saturation point. This triggers the release of latent heat, which provides the internal energy needed for continued upward acceleration. This is the mechanism that allows a mechanical push to evolve into the sustained vertical growth of a thunderstorm. Understanding how mountains and terrain act as mechanical triggers for latent instability allows pilots to predict these localized, violent weather systems well before takeoff. To track all these chaotic variables simultaneously, professional meteorologists use a specialized thermodynamic diagram called a tephogram. The tephogram consolidates the dry adiabatic lapse rate, the saturated adiabatic lapse rate, atmospheric pressure lines, isotherms, and humidity mixing ratios onto a single, highly detailed grid. The ultimate objective of reading a tephogram is to predict the precise altitude where clouds will begin to form. In aviation, we call this the lifting condensation level, or LCL. We find the LCL on this chart using a mathematical rule called Norman's theorem. According to the theorem, a forecaster tracks the upward trajectory of 3 specific temperature metrics: the dry bulb, the wet bulb, and the dew point. The theorem states that the exact altitude where all 3 of these lines intersect is the true lifting condensation level. This is the exact boundary where relative humidity hits 100% and cloud-based formation begins. Atmospheric stability is never a matter of guesswork. It is a rigid, calculated thermodynamic relationship between an isolated parcel of air and its surrounding environment, and mastering that relationship is the foundation of safe aviation. To continue mastering the DGCA CPL and ATPL syllabus, make sure to subscribe to the Pilot Arnav channel. Study hard and happy landings! Predicting whether an air mass will generate violent turbulence or remain perfectly calm depends on precise temperature mathematics. To make these calculations, we rely on a physical baseline known as the adiabatic process. An adiabatic process occurs in thermodynamic isolation. No external heat is exchanged between a specific parcel of air and the surrounding environment. As an isolated air parcel ascends, the ambient atmospheric pressure surrounding it drops, allowing the air inside to expand. Pushing outward against atmospheric pressure requires physical work. The parcel expends its own internal energy to force that expansion, causing the temperature inside to drop. Conversely, when that parcel descends, the increasing ambient pressure forces it to compress, driving the internal temperature back up. These temperature changes are driven entirely by altitude and pressure shifts, occurring independently of external environmental heat. This predictable temperature shift gives us our first specific metric, the dry adiabatic lapse rate, or DALR. Completely unsaturated, dry air cools at a fixed rate of precisely 3 degrees Celsius for every 1,000 feet of ascent. That rate changes once moisture is introduced to the parcel. Water vapor cools at a slower rate than dry air. In a saturated parcel, this vapor acts as a thermal buffer that resists rapid cooling. This gives us our second metric, the saturated adiabatic lapse rate, or SALR. Because of the moisture buffer, a saturated parcel of air cools at a rate of 1.5 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet of ascent. Across a 1,000-foot ascent, a dry parcel loses 3 degrees, while a saturated parcel loses only 1.5 degrees. Moisture dictates how the air mass handles energy, effectively halving its rate of cooling. Predicting stability requires one final variable, the ELR, or environmental lapse rate. The ELR is the actual, real-time temperature gradient of the ambient atmosphere, measured independently of the moving air parcels. While the International Standard Atmosphere assumes a baseline ELR of 1.98 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet, real-world conditions fluctuate constantly. Atmospheric stability relies on relative density. Warmer air is less dense and rises, creating instability, while colder air is denser and sinks, creating stability. In this model, the environment has a weak ELR of just 1 degree Celsius per 1,000 feet. We start by placing a dry air parcel inside it. As the dry parcel ascends, it cools by 3 degrees. The surrounding environment only cools by 1 degree. The dry parcel becomes colder and denser than the ambient air, causing it to sink. We see a similar result if we swap in a saturated parcel. The saturated parcel cools by 1.5 degrees, which is still faster than the 1 degree environmental cooling rate. Regardless of moisture content, both parcels become denser than their surroundings and move downward. This establishes our first mathematical law. When the DAMR and the SALR are both greater than the ELR, any air mass will become colder than its environment, ensuring absolute stability. Now, consider an environment with a steep environmental lapse rate of 4 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet. The surrounding environment is cooling by 4 degrees, while our dry parcel only cools by 3. Because the dry parcel cools slower than its environment, it remains warmer and less dense than the ambient air, forcing it to rise. A saturated parcel in this same environment cools at only 1.5 degrees. It retains its heat significantly better than the 4-degree environment. In this scenario, both dry and saturated air masses remain warmer than the surrounding atmosphere, creating continuous upward drafts. This gives us our second law. When the ELR is greater than both the DALR and the SALR, an air parcel will perpetually rise, creating absolute instability. The most complex atmospheric conditions occur when the environmental lapse rate falls between the two adiabatic rates. Take an environment with an ELR of exactly 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet. The dry parcel cools at 3 degrees, which is faster than the 2-degree environment. It becomes denser and sinks. In this environment, a dry air mass will stabilize, but a saturated parcel behaves differently. The saturated parcel cools at just 1.5 degrees. This is slower than the 2-degree environment. Under these exact conditions, the saturated air mass remains warmer than the environment, and it continues to rise. This defines our final law. When the DALR is greater than the ELR, but the ELR is greater than the SALR, stability is contingent upon the moisture content. This is conditional instability. This matrix summarizes the 3 states of stability. Predicting the weather is a matter of calculating the relative cooling rates between an air mass and its atmospheric envelope. These principles are central to the DGCA and ATPL meteorology syllabus and are detailed in standard texts like IC Joshi. While exam prompts will vary the numerical values to test your comprehension, these 3 thermodynamic inequalities provide the consistent logic for every calculation. To solve these problems, isolate the given ELR and identify if the air is dry or saturated. Then, map the density gradient to determine if the parcel sinks or rises. Mastery of these relative thermodynamics is required for passing advanced aviation meteorology exams. If this breakdown clarified atmospheric stability, subscribe to the Pilot Arnav channel for more DGCA and ATPL preparation. Like, share, and leave your technical questions in the comments.